3 p.m. on Saturday at St James's Park, Newcastle United against Chelsea. You've got top of the league against 19th in the league. And we're going to go on a dual rant right now because we feel like the media have missed something here. Both of us, just before we started recording this, we were talking about Newcastle and thinking about the Crystal Palace game. And everyone's kind of going, well, they got a draw. Graham Jones has come in. And I'm sure there's that feeling of like, oh, go on then, Graham. Sort this lot out. Let's see that new manager bounce. And they did get themselves a draw. But Newcastle, in my opinion, in that game, were incredibly lucky. And to be honest, were pretty dire throughout. Over to you, Hugh.
Well, to put it very simply, Christian Benteke should have scored 5 goals. I mean, listen, Callum Wilson, the Newcastle striker, has 6 and 6. He scored a fantastic overhead kick. That was pretty much the only time Newcastle threatened the Palace goal. Their goal.
No one spoke about that bicycle kick either, did they? Like, that goal was ridiculous. Ridiculous.
It was ridiculous, but it wasn't the story of the game because Christian Benteke missed so many chances. Crystal Palace missed so many good opportunities in that game to win it. Once again, by the way, we're not talking about Palace, but my word, how have they not won at least 3 or 4 more games this season?
Yeah.
But I think it was ridiculous, the number of chances. You know, a missed header from about 3 yards out, a 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, missed the target. I mean, those 2 huge chances should have seen the game absolutely wrapped up. And I actually think Newcastle played worse under Graham Jones than they did the week before with Steve Bruce as their manager against Tottenham Hotspur, the 3-2 defeat. I'll be perfectly honest. And they barely touched the ball in the game against Spurs. So that says a lot, right?
Well, yeah, they barely touched the ball in this game either. 25% possession. Palace had 15 shots, 5 big chances. Newcastle had 6 shots throughout the game. There's if you look at, and going into this game, I guess moving it forward, in this game, last week when Chelsea won 7-0 against Norwich, a big thing when I was looking at the game and the average positions of Norwich was the fact that they were playing like Newcastle were, but somehow incredibly open. Now, Newcastle will not be like that. They will be a lot more conservative, a lot more compact because they've been doing it for the last 3 years. But they will still be incredibly isolated when it comes to Callum Wilson and Alan St-Maximin as those 2 guys up top. And the dangerous thing here is the first half of this game. Because if Chelsea get 1 and then possibly even get 2 in that first half, this could be really, really ugly because Chelsea look fantastic at the moment, don't they?
Well, listen, I mean, that game against Norwich City, everything just clicked for them. You can say what you want about Norwich City. You know, it could have been 4, could have been 5. It was 7. You know, they were exceptional on the day. Everything clicked for Chelsea. They will go into this game in a really confident mood. I just don't see how Newcastle United get anything out of this game. I'm sorry. Chelsea are almost looking like they're the favourites for the title. Now, I know it was a game against Norwich, like I said, but I just think that they have that depth of squad, so many quality players to bring in, and they will change some players, I'm sure, for the game against Newcastle. And again, their quality doesn't dip, and that's because Thomas Tuchel has set such a high standard, such a high bar for these players to try and achieve every week. Everyone's playing for a place. They want to be involved when it comes to those big trophies at the end of the season. And I'm sure Chelsea will be there or thereabouts in virtually every single competition. So they have a good chance for me winning the league and probably have the best squad. I don't know what you think.
I think you're bang on, Hugh, because I think, like you say, you talk about that squad depth. I think if you look at them alongside Man City, in terms of personnel, have Man City got a better depth for themselves? Possibly, but I mean, it's very, very close. I think the use of the squad is the thing that I've been most impressed when it comes to Thomas Tuchel, because he's looked at some of these games in the Premier League, certainly after a Champions League game as well, and he's using everyone. Ross Barkley from nowhere playing games, Ruben Loftus-Cheek getting minutes, and I think those players would be players that Newcastle United themselves are actually eyeing up to bring into their team. So they're players of quality that can do a job for them, and you put them into these games and go on, prove something to me. And so they play at a higher energy, which can often be where these top teams kind of fall down, is that they get a bit lazy. There's a bit of social loafing going on there, and they're not switched on and not winning those games and not destroying those teams like they did last week. And I think that's one of the most impressive things. 14 different goal scorers in the Premier League, 7 goals without a fit striker last week. It looks like a very, very uphill task for Newcastle. And you've got a left back who scored in each of his last 4 games in Ben Chilwell as well, who couldn't get a game for the first 5 games of the season. So I think it's It's a great time to be a Chelsea fan. Also, so many of those being academy players as well. A really lovely time to be a Chelsea fan. And the energy is right for Chelsea right now. Now, in terms of predictions for the game, I think we're both agreeing that this is probably going to be a Chelsea win. So I'd like a bit more of a juicy one for you. When it comes to this Newcastle job, then, who would you go for now?
I think right now I'd choose Lucien Favre, actually. Like I say, because of the experience that he has, and I think he'll be confident that he can do a decent job in the Premier League, and he has done a very good job elsewhere as well. So for me, I think he's the prime candidate. Who would you go for?
Do you know what? There's a name that I keep looking at, and I don't, because I think when it comes to this, I always think about, do the Newcastle fans need a personality to excite them, or do they need a coach that can just get them out of this trouble? And I wonder if there's one that's got a bit of both. Maybe he's a little bit too nice. And I know a lot of football fans don't like this manager, but I'm quite a big fan of Roberto Martinez, and he's dealt with a club that's been dealing with relegation. I think he's dealt with a high pressure job with the Belgium national team and Everton as well. It might be, and as someone who is possibly movable down the line and would understand it, I think he's got quite a good balance of developing the team that's there, but also making a couple of changes that could make sure that this team is in the Premier League next year. I think that's got to be the main focus if you're Amanda Staveley right now.
Too tough, too specific a style of football. It will take too long for them to get results because he has to change so much. Don't be silly. He'd get them relegated.
Well, let us know, guys, who should be the Newcastle manager. And if it was Roberto Martinez, would he keep him up or would he send him down?
Hi, I'm Hugh Wisencroft from ESPN's Football Forecast. Make sure you're subscribed. You can follow all of our predictions throughout the season and get some other great analysis from our big names as well.